Let's go ahead and I guess I'll just go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and start the recording though, and then we'll get right into it. So, hello. If you're just tuning in the spot, welcome. For this video, we are going to see. This is a friend of mine. His normal game. This round, wall matches puts his normal elo at about 1300. So this is probably about the equivalent of about a 1200, maybe 11 to 1200 ranked game. He's playing Shen. And this is, he's at his point in his LoL career where he's really frustrated with his teams, and it's all like, oh, my teams are so bad, I can't do anything. And this is an example of a game where I felt like he couldn't do anything because his team was so bad. So I'm going to watch that, and what we're going to do is we're really going to focus on his play and his mistakes and ignore his team. So even though his team is probably doing very dumb things, my goal in this is hopefully I can point out some things that he's not doing well and show aspects where he can clearly improve. So yes, even though his team may be doing horribly, there are many things he could have done differently in this game. Hopefully. That's the plan. Maybe he played perfect. I don't know. But let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and get this replay started. And hopefully this works. I've had a lot of issues with my LoL replay when I tried this Friday, but this is a fresh replay from like yesterday, and hopefully we're good. So if you are watching, I'd strongly encourage you to join my RC channel. You can either just join the chat below my stream, or if you have a dedicated RC client, it's #rockalockalili. Or you can just go to my website at www.rockalockalili.com and click the IRC tab, and that's probably the easiest way. It's just super easy. There's an embedded IRC chat there. You just enter a username, click join chat, and boom, you're chatting. So one of my favorite things while streaming is to talk with you guys. So yeah, so this is LunarianCrystal is my friend, and I always like to point this out, but you can always tell when you enter a lower elo game because if anyone has clarity, it's a lower elo game. And the reason why clarity is a bad summoner spell is clarity doesn't make you any stronger. It doesn't help you in fights at all. Clarity is completely useless if you just manage your mana properly, and it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you at all. All it does is it gives you mana when you've mismanaged your mana. That's all it does. It lets you play sloppy, and for example, this bottom lane is going to be Varus Sona against, I don't know, another reason it's low elo, this is not standard meta at all. They don't have support in AD to go bottom. So, another reason you can tell it's low elo. Is the screen like flashing for you guys on the left? Okay, no, it looks like it won't. Looks like, I don't know. Let me know if the screen's flashing though. In my little preview window it is freaking out, but I don't think that should transfer to your end, but let me know. So, anyway, yeah, so I don't know what Shen is gonna be up against top lane here. Maybe Jarvan, maybe Nidalee, maybe Teemo. Could be any of those three. So we'll just have to see. But this team does have a lot excuse me, does have a lot of strong initiation and big CCs. Like they don't have a bunch of low cooldown CCs like Tarek's Sons or anything, but they do have Sona ultimate, Varus ultimate, Warwick ultimate, Shen taunt. Those are all big money CCs. And on the flip side, you have Warwick and Malzahar on the other team. Both with their suppression ultimates are very strong. And then, of course, Jarvan with his ultimate. So we'll have to see how this game goes. Since this is a lower elo game, most of the time team comps don't matter, and what really matters is just skill. And whoever outplays the other opponent or whoever makes dumb mistakes and gets put really far behind, it's typically the team that is going to lose. So we'll have to see how this goes. Teleport on Shen. I want to talk about summoner spells here. Flash teleport, not the summoner spells I think I would typically go on Shen. Teleport is okay. You can use teleport so that you can ult down to save someone and then teleport back and not lose your lane. So it's okay. I don't think it's that necessary though, because you already have insane map presence with your ultimate, and I don't think you really need to add in the teleport to do so. But it's not bad. Flash is okay. I think I prefer Ghost on Shen. Lets you know, Ghost will let you, like, Shen is tanky enough with his shield, mobile enough with his dash, you know, his shadow dash? No. I don't remember what it's called, but his taunt is effectively a flash already. You can go through walls with it and everything. So I don't think flash is not necessary. You could go something like Ghost Ignite on Shen if you think you can kill the top lane you're matched against. If this is blind pick, you can't really tell, but it's something to consider. Switching up summoner spells. I don't really like flash on Shen, so I think Ghost is probably better on Shen, but teleport is okay. You could swap in an Ignite or a heal if you really want, or even an exhaust. So starting Doran Shield is a little risky, especially if you're going to be against Teemo. If Teemo ends up being top, Doran Shield is not going to be a good choice. The armor isn't going to really help you. Boots 3 potions is a standard, very safe start, is good against anyone. And the reason why, especially with top lane is often the focus of early ganks. So top lane is often, you know, a jungle like will come and clear their jungle and then be like, oh, what do I do? Well, bottom lane normally has wards. Mid lane can be hard to gank because it's so short. So a lot of times jungles will go ahead and I don't have the spectator mode replay going on, I just realized. I don't know what's up with that, but since I was having a bunch of issues last time, I'm not going to worry about that too much. But one thing is, like, you don't want to taunt into these bushes like you're doing here. This is so risky. That's like, your team's not with you. If your team was with you, that's fine. Like, if you really want to go crazy and initiate a fight, like a taunt on 5 people, if they're all crowded in that brush, could be really good. So, that's fine. But you want to start hitting top now, so you don't miss any experience. You can start... Ideally, you want to start your recall at 130 and no later to make it to your lane, so that's fine. If you wouldn't have been able to afford a potion, but like if you start boost 3 potions and you go back at 130, you can typically afford a 4th potion on your way back to base. But like I was saying, boost 3 pots is the safe start. It's really good top lane because top lane you often end up getting ganked a lot, and boots helps you escape ganks a lot. If you don't have boots and the enemy jungle or the enemy top lane does, like, you can't run away from them. So you're gonna be forced to summon or spell, and that might not even be good enough. Like, if they exhaust you and you flash, you're probably gonna die anyway. So and then the other thing is, like, starting taunt. I don't think I would start taunt. I think I would wait and see what happens. So like, you didn't need your taunt, so you could have started Q, and it's just gonna help you last hit and help you sustain a little bit. So now Jarvan is going to do big damage. I'd be careful trading with him like you just did. Yeah, actually, you came out really far ahead right there. So that was actually a really good trade for you. I don't know what runes or masters you're running. In fact, I have no idea. It looks like some armor runes at least. But that trade actually ended up really well for you. I was going to say, you don't really want to trade without your Q, because your Q is going to let you heal up and give you damage when you go in there trading. So the other thing is that that was dangerous, because if you looked at how many minions he had like 7 minions hitting you, and if he just fought you instead of wussed out, you would have been in a lot more trouble there. But it looks like you're going to be able to bully him a lot. This Jarvan is playing really passively, and he's not like knocking you up or anything. It's very odd. So and that's one thing you can always do in your lane, is you can play extremely aggressive against someone and see how they react. So you're playing very aggressive and seeing how this Jarvan reacts. He's reacting very poorly. The other thing is, you're missing tons of last hits. That's 3 or 4 CS in a row that you've missed for absolutely no reason. So that's play that you really have to tighten up. CS is just so important. Like, Malzahar is already at 14 CS, and you're at 5. Granted, you have tons of minions left to kill. The other thing is, you should start really clearing and trying to counter push this lane, because this wave is going to hit your turret. So this is one thing I really want to talk about. This is lane control. Right now, you've lost control of your lane, and Jarvan is going to be able to push it to your turret. Yeah, so Jarvan's not going to be afraid to fight you here because, like I said, you just fought in like 20 minions. So you want to be a little, like, you would come out really far ahead of that trade if you didn't fight with minions. So, but yeah, you just lost quite a bit of CS to this turret. You see, you just missed like those last two, and that's because Jarvan is able to just push you up to your turret, and you can counteract that by just auto-attacking and watching your minions' health compared to theirs, and make sure that they stay pretty equal. You know, you want to let the wave push to your turret, but you don't want it to actually hit your turret. You want it to sit right outside it. And see, this is a situation where, like, if you had Ignite, you would have a lot more kill potential in this lane right now. As it stands, like, Jarvan's not gonna really... He shouldn't really be that afraid of dying to you, especially if he has mana for his combo. He can just jump away. But once again, you're missing so much CS, and already, like, even if you kill Jarvan, you're missing so much CS. Well, this is a low elo game, so pretty much no one is CSing well. Malzahar at 25 is the highest, but still, like, you've missed so much CS that you could be so much higher. And it's important to remember how valuable CS is. It's like 10 to 15 CS is the same amount of gold as a kill, so just keep that in mind. Very aggressive flash going on there. You're not going to be able to kill. Shen has, like I said, with no Ignite, you have very low kill potential. So right there, you need to have an idea of how much damage you can do. And clearly, that was... You didn't know how much damage you could do there. So, you know, total waste of a flash. It is going to force him to base and miss a lot of XP and CS because you are going to be pushing to his turret. So that's good. You do want to base. So right now would be a really good time to base because your wave is at his turret, which means you're not going to miss. If you based right now, you could walk back to lane without missing any CS, maybe missing 1 CS because your lane was at his turret. So that was a really good time to go base. I understand if you wanted to, like, maybe hit level 6 before you did base. Looks like the Warwick's coming up here. He has his red buff. Your Warwick is tower diving. Bad idea on your Warwick's part, especially because Jarvan had Ignite. But you just got wrecked by their Warwick. I was definitely really dumb with the Warwick, but... Looks like, I don't know if you tried to trade with the Warwick, but you never really want to trade with a Warwick. Like, Warwick is an extremely strong champion 1v1, especially if he has red buff. You definitely don't want to try to 1v1 a Warwick with red buff. And once again, there were way more creeps for the enemy team than your team. So you probably took a lot of creep damage there, and the Warwick damage. So just something to note. If you're getting zoned like this, since you have teleport, you can recall and then teleport really quick, and you won't miss any creeps or anything. And that's one advantage of having teleport. So once again, just missing CS for no reason. Like, those 2 CS for absolutely no reason. You've probably missed by now about 20 CS at least for really just no reason. Just sloppy mechanical play. And that's the biggest thing that you need to work on. And if you're saying, like, I can't carry games with bad teammates, well, one of the easiest ways to carry games is just get a ton of CS and just be stronger than everyone through farm. And, like, if you didn't have to change your playstyle at all. The only thing that you had to change is just picking up that slop and getting that CS that you should be getting, and you could be, you know, at least 20 CS ahead of where you are right now. So that's something just so majorly important. But I'm not really going to comment on it anymore because I've said it, and, you know, there's not much else to say. I can keep pointing out CS that you miss for no reason, like that one right there. But, you know, there's really nothing else I can say. So the other reason why you wanted to go back is because this is one other thing I want to talk about: lane control and timing when you go back to base. So you were beating this Jarvan, like, really handily, but he died and went back to base and was able to shop. And you stayed in your lane. So what that's done now is Jarvan has an item advantage on you, despite you doing really well early, zoning him out. I mean, Warwick fed him that kill and that red buff, which doesn't help, but still, you were doing so well early, and you just threw it away because you let him go back to base, and you didn't. Looks like you're going to ult in. This is a bad time for you to ult because your lane's pushed to your turret. So this is actually a situation where I don't think you should have ultied. That Warwick looked like he was going to die anyway. There were already 3 people here. And now you have to teleport back. So that ulti, all it really did was give you an assist. It didn't really help your team. Like, I don't think your team needed your help at all there. And all it did was made you, it forced you to have to teleport back up. And now your ult's on cooldown. So I don't think your ult was really necessary there. It got you an assist. I mean, so there's that. You were able to teleport back, so you didn't miss many creeps. But I don't know how I feel about that. You're playing very, very afraid of this Jarvan now, and it's an odd change in playstyle from how you were playing. You know, you were being very aggressive and winning in those trades because Jarvan didn't know how to react to your aggression, and it was working really well for you. But now Warwick gave him a kill, and you've just, like, I understand when he had red buff if you didn't want to play so aggressively, but now his red buff's worn off, and you're still playing super passive. Like, you're letting him zone you from CS, you're so scared, like, taunting away from him. It's just a very odd change in playstyle. Like, if you taunted him right there, you'd have a full wave coming in that would start hitting him. So, minions are very important when you're trading, especially in top lane, so, you know, that would have been really, like, your change in playstyle here I don't quite understand. I still think that you could be trading with this Jarvan. The other thing is, okay, you need to put a point in feint. It looks like you haven't yet. This is Jarvan 4 have AP, I didn't notice. But you need to at least put a point in feint. It's really good, especially with new Shen. Once they rework Shen, the second part of feint is really important here. While feint holds, his attack reduces keystrikes cooldown by an additional 1.5 seconds. So it reduces the cooldown on your passive. Very important, because your passive is a large part of Shen's damage. So you need to get at least 1 point in it. One of the problems with Shen is all of his abilities are so good to level up. I understand why you don't want to, but it's at least a 1 point wonder. It's very effective to get 1 point in that. So that trade went pretty even. You would have come out ahead of trades if you waited for your wave to get there, because you ended up getting hit by about 4 or 5 minions, and Jarvan was only getting hit by like 1 of yours. And you can't discount minion damage. It's really important to consider. Like, when you're getting hit by, I mean, ranged minions have 31 damage, so when you're getting hit by 4 ranged minions, that's pretty much the equivalent of getting hit by an extra champion worth of auto attacks. So you definitely need to always consider that when you're talking about trading. And you could come out really far ahead of these trades if you have just 1 point in feint, because that would protect you from 75 damage every time you go in. So, I mean, it's a lot of energy, but still. So your CS is just so low compared to what it could be. You could easily be at 100 CS by now. You've missed, like, I just want to put this, you haven't left your lane. You've missed about 60 CS just by missing them. Like, no reason, just sloppy mechanics and missing them. Warwick runs into Warwick, which is kind of funny. Yeah, so Jarvan's going to come in there. That ulti is okay. I was going to say it might have been better to just keep the damage up, but really good. This is going to end up really well for you guys. You guys pick up the double kill. Now, what you want to do here is you want to push this lane out as hard as you can, and then go back to base. So, by pushing the lane out, you're going to ensure Jarvan misses the most CS and experience to his wave dying to the tower. So, you always want to make sure you push the wave out. It looks like that's what you guys are doing. So, good play by both you and Warwick to recognize that. And then you definitely, like, you have to base now. You can just base and let Warwick push this out, but you have 2.1k gold. Don't, like, you need to be basing right here instead of trying to do damage to this turret. Malzahar is roaming up, and I guess you guys are gonna get the turret, which is good. But the thing is like when you get a turret this early, Jarvan is gonna be able to freeze the lane like right here, and then you're not gonna be able to farm it anymore. And if he does that, then what that forces you to do is you're going to be forced to go make up plays elsewhere. And the other thing is, like, if you're forced to stay in your lane right now, this is going to be a huge mistake. Because you're sitting on 2.4k gold. This is horrible gold management right here. Like, just really bad lane management. And this is why, like, pushing that turret wasn't a good idea. Because now they're just going to counter push. You're forced to stay because they're here. And you're forced to stay with 2.4k gold. So it's just kind of poor management. Very ballsy taunt by you. Yeah, I was gonna say Malzahar could just pool and ult you, but it looks like you actually weren't in his pool. But still, baiting the Warwick to go in. Jarvan's going big. Your taunt was up. You could have taunted away from that and not gotten knocked up, and that would have saved you a lot of damage. Katarina's not going to be able to kill that. But so, poor lane management there. So anytime you push like that, you have to consider, like, okay, if we push this, can they counter push this? Or, you know, you have to consider, yes, we can get this turret, but what are they going to do right after? And, like, this often comes up when you ace someone mid-late game, and the decision is, like, should we Baron or push for an inhibitor? And oftentimes, if you end up pushing for an inhibitor, and you're too low to go secure the Baron for yourself, you have to go heal. And then if the enemy team respawns and rushes Baron while you're in base, you can lose Baron off that inhibitor. And so it might not be worth it. And that's why I almost always say, Baron? Sorry, just saw you teleport bottom, I guess. I think that teleport was not necessary. There wasn't going to be that much damage put out on that turret, and Sona was really close to being there. But I guess Katarina's holding your top, so it's not a big deal. As far as your choice of boots with Merc Treads, I'm not sure how I feel about the Merc Treads. They don't have really any Merc Treadables CC. Pretty much at all. Like, Warwick's, it doesn't help for suppression, so Warwickle and Malzaharl, it's not going to help with. Jarvan Knockup, it's not going to help with. So, it's not going to help with any of their CC. So I think Merc Treads were a big mistake in terms of your item choice here. I think that there are lots of things that might have been a better item choice. Ninja Tabby might have been better, especially because you're laning against Jarvan. That would help a lot against his damage. So good taunt there onto the Nidalee. You're very low though. So you have to be careful about, like, ulting in the middle of fights like that, because while it does give Warwick a 264 damage shield, it also forces you to not do anything for that channel time after channeling for 0 seconds. So I don't remember how long the channel time is, but you have to remember that ulting in the middle of a fight is rarely a good idea, because yes, it will give you 260 shield onto your teammate, but you lost, like, your damage and your CC, and you pretty much remove yourself from the fight for those 3 seconds to give someone a 260 HP shield. And you saw right there, while you were doing that, they just killed you because you're just standing there not doing anything. So you always have to remember that. Fastest way to lose any solo queue game is, like, raging at your team, and like this, like, you're just raging. And that's the fastest way to lose a team fight. And, like, you made a big mistake in that team fight. You ulted and stood there right in front of 2 people, and they just killed you. And, like, so it's not like you did really well that team fight either. Especially, like, when you ulted, I think it was Warwick. He wasn't even in, like, immediate danger of dying, and he's not really that high priority of a target to keep alive. It's not like your Fed 80 carry that you really want to keep alive or something. So just something to consider. You want to be careful when it comes to ulting in fights, because yes, it gives you a small shield onto your teammate, and now it's a pretty big shield, 560, but especially rank 1, it's not that big of a shield, and like, it eliminates your presence from the fight. So if you had done, like, 250 damage in that 3-second channel, which would be like a Vorpal Blade and a Key Strike, you know, it's not helpful to shield the Warwick. So always something to consider. You do have a 2-level advantage on this Warwick, so you shouldn't be too afraid. And you have tons of minions. So Warwick is getting his ass kicked right here. Look how much minion damage he's taking. He lost damage in his he lost HP in his ultimate, and his ultimate heals him for a lot. And that's how much minion damage he took right there. So just something, always consider how many minions are around whenever you try to fight. So looks like you're going for a chain vest. I'm not sure what you want to be building that into. Maybe a Randuin's, which is, you know, that's a good item. Shen does scale well with HP, so HP items are good, and resistances are really good too if you're leveling Feint, because the more resistances you have, the more effective HP Feint gives you. And once again, you really need to get at least 1 point in Feint. It's so critical with the way they reworked Shen, because while Feint holds the reduced cooldown on Key Strike, that's so important. I feel like you're really undervaluing that, because that will increase your damage by a lot. But, like, Wit's End is a pretty good item on Shen if you feel like you need the magic resist. So, you know, attack speed is good because it lowers the cooldown on your key strike, which, like I said, is quite a lot of your damage. So, and then you know, Wits End is just such a good item. It's very cost effective for the stats it provides. So that's something you could always consider if you feel like you need some more MR. Which this team is going to end up doing a lot of MR. You know, they have an AP Nidalee, they have Teemo, or they're going to do a lot of magic damage. And Malzahar is doing very well on their team. The Warwick ulting the Warwick. This is a very bad fight for you guys, though. Like, you need to get out of this. So you should be able to get out. 1-for-1 in a 4v2, it doesn't end up being that bad of a trade, but you should just go back to base. Like, you can't defend this at half health. And you could probably just go heal, then come back before they can really do anything if they do decide to push, so. One thing you can get on Shen that's not bad is in Aegis of the Legion. You know, so whenever you teleport into the team, you instantly give them that benefit of the aura. And, you know, Aegis of the Legion is just such a good item that pretty much no matter what, you know, no matter what, you want at least one of them on your team. So if no one else on your team looks like they're going to be getting it, it's a really good pickup. So it's not a very expensive item, and it's very good for the stats it provides. The other thing is that you haven't bought a single ward all game. So wards are extremely important, and warding is just really, really important. And you're also not, like, I haven't been looking for this, but you should always be looking for opportunities for your team to take Dragon and Baron and to steal their buffs. And that's one thing that you can do. Bad Sun ulti, only picking up one person. This is a bad way to run. That's why. So it's one thing I want to talk about. The way you ran right there. So there's two ways you can. So you should have just ran this way. So what you did by running this way is, in the short term, it created distance from here to here. But what they did is they ran this way and just cut you off in your angle. So it was a really bad way to run because Warwick just ran this way and then ulted you. But if you had run this way, you probably could have gotten out of that. So it was a bad way to run down like that. You wanted to dip around that corner and run like that. So just keep in mind your angles. That's a mistake by you getting picked off right there. Really just getting picked for no reason, and it was a bad mistake by you. So. Looks like Warwick ending up getting caught against this Malzahar, but anyway, yeah, wards are really important, and then with wards you can stay in your lane even when it's pushed up, and you can steal this blue buff. Like, since you took out their turret, if you're able to just stay in the lane and keep pushing it, you can ward up to prevent ganks, and then just keep pushing and have complete control of their buff, and it's really, really powerful to do that. Oh, okay, someone's saying you did buy a ward, you put it in try here when you're pushing, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, and that's good. But you need to be buying more wards, like 20 minutes and you've only bought. Okay, so here you go, you bought 2 wards. Okay, so rushing Thornmail, this is not a good idea. Especially, like I said, they do way more magic damage than physical damage at this point. Way more. The only person that does physical damage on their team is Jarvan. So that's it, and he doesn't even have any damage. So, like, literally, Nidalee is going to do mostly magic damage. Teemo is going to do mostly magic damage. Warwick does mostly magic damage. Their entire team does mostly magic damage. So, it's just, oh, you could have saved that Warwick. Huge mistake by you. You didn't taunt Malzahar out of his ultimate. Just really, really, really big mistake by you there. You were in range and you didn't taunt the Malzahar, and that could 100% saved Warwick because it interrupts the Malzahar ult. So I don't quite know what was going on there, but big mistake by you there. But this Thornmail is a really, 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 really bad item choice. They are all doing mostly magic damage on their team, and you bought just armor. Thornmail is just in general not a great item to rush. You know, all that armor is not very effective if you don't have a lot of HP as well. So I'm not a fan of a Thornmail rush in any situation, and this is probably the worst possible situation you could do it. So just that Thornmail is is a really, really bad item decision. If you want to build tanky, you really need to understand what the damage coming from the other team is. And, you know, Teemo is going to be hybrid, but it's going to be a lot of magic damage, especially with that Malady. And you know, his poison ticks. Warwick is going to be hybrid, but it's going to be mostly magic damage. His Q does magic damage. It looks like he's building a Blood Razor, which is going to be magic damage. His ult does magic damage. You know, he's all magic damage. Malzahar, all magic damage. And Malzahar is the one that you really have to worry about this game. It's Malzahar, and Malzahar is the one you have to worry about. Like, look at his CS. 175 CS. That's 100 more than you. At 22 minutes... Okay, I told you I wasn't going to talk about CS again, but this is so important. At 23 minutes into the game, you're at 63 CS. That's horrible. Like, look at this Malzahar. He has 100 more CS than you. You have the same amount of kills. He's down 3 assists. But he has 100 more CS than you. That's about 2,000 gold. Just from CS. Like... That's a huge big item. That's insane. That's like, this is where your CS should be at 23 minutes. It should be at 175 or better. And the fact that you're only at 63 is really bad. And what it's coming down to is what you're doing is you're like running bottom and then like doing this weird fight for no reason and then running away. And you haven't gotten any CS in about 10 minutes because all you're doing is running around and not accomplishing anything. So you only want to fight like for objectives and for reasons, because LoL is a game. It's about resources and resource control is really what it is. So you only want to actually be fighting if you are in the process of controlling an objective. Otherwise, you want to be farming, because like if you look at top lane, see all these minions right here, all these minions that are dying and everything. These are all dying. That's wasted resource. That's wasted gold, wasted experience that no one gets now, and is just completely wasted. Same thing with mid. So I mean, this fight is okay because you're contesting a blue buff, but that's the rare occasion. Otherwise, you haven't been fighting for anything. So you need to make sure that like your resources don't go to waste. And this is a scary fight anyway because it's 4v3. This is definitely dangerous. Once again, your taunt is up while Malzahar is ulting someone. And, like, I can't stress how mechanically wrong that play is. Your taunt is up while Malz is ulting someone. You can just taunt him, and it completely negates his ultimate. So that's another big mechanical mistake that you've made. So, like, overall, with your Shen play... First thing is your CS is really bad. You need to work on CSing, and you need to work to actively looking to farm at this point in the game. You can't just roam and do nothing. Like, you don't need to go bottom right here. These two, they can hold 2v2. You can protect the tower 2v2 really easily. Why don't you go farm mid or go farm top? Like, they don't need you here. Going here is just wasting time. Unless you kill someone, going here is wasting time. And you're going to try to just charge straight up there to get the kill. Actually, they let you taunt them, which is pretty dumb. But still, okay, so they're out. You don't get the kill. Now you're overextending by chasing. So this is dangerous to chase that. But yeah, now their team is here. So what have you accomplished? Nothing. You wasted a bunch of time. That's all you did. You could have just gotten 20 CS top lane, and that's more gold than a kill would have gotten you. So. I really just want to stress how important like not wasting time is, and you guys are losing this game. Like, just look at the CS levels, and that'll tell you why you're losing this game. So, like, Malzahar has 189 CS, and that's why you're losing this game, because Malz has so much CS, he does so much damage, and is pretty much unkillable, and he's level 16. The other thing is, okay, look at experience. You see how Malzahar is level 16? You want to know why he's level 16? Because he stayed in his lane and farmed. It's because he stayed in his lane and he's farmed, and he hasn't wasted time by roaming around for no reason. So, like, it's extremely important to go and stay in your lane. So, like, Warwick has been top for the last like 5 minutes just farming top lane, and that's really good for him. And that's what you guys need to be using. Like, you can't let your resources go to waste, and your resources are like your jungle and the enemy's minions. And anytime those things die, like anytime minions die and no one gets the gold, that's a sad day, and you should be sad about that. So, but Warwick just did really good. Like, while you guys are messing around bottom, literally nothing happened bottom. and Warwick was able to push, get a ton of CS, and get a turret for your team. So you end up getting a kill, which is good. I don't know why you're talking shit though. That's never good. But you're so mad. But anyway, and this is the one thing I'm talking about. Like, you guys can probably get that dragon, or at least check to see it's there. Like, you have to realize that dragon and like your red buff, these are very important objectives that you have to control. Like, games are won or lost by controlling objectives, not getting kills. It's controlling objectives and getting farm. And those are two things that you've pretty much ignored this entire game. And that's like the biggest thing in your play that you need to work on. You need to work on farming, getting CS and not getting behind in experience. Like, as a solo lane, you're level 13, and that's like the same level as their jungle, and they're one of their bottom laners. And that shouldn't happen. So the other thing is, like, you can convince your team to get dragons and barons and buffs by, like, most of the time people will listen if you ping dragon, and it's like obviously a good time to dragon. Like, you just killed 2 people and you ping dragon, people will be like, oh yeah, it's 5v3, let's do dragon. You know, people can understand that. But like, you haven't been top lane in like 10 minutes, and that's your lane. And since you're Shen, you don't have to be down here to help your team out. What? That's a very odd ulti on the Warwick. I'm not sure why that ulti happened. But anyway, you're Shen with teleport. You don't need to be around here running around with your team. You need to be top lane all day. You're not using Shen's greatest strength, and that is his split push. His power to split push at this point in the game. You go top lane and you just push all day. And this is one of the reasons why I like Ghost on Shen. With Ghost, you're pretty much ungankable. You can just run away and never die to a gank. But anyway, with let me just pause for this fight. So you were really slow to turn around to get that Warwick, but Sona was able to ult off of him. Chasing here is dangerous because, like, Malz and Jarvan are going in to go to fight the rest of your team, but, you know, you guys are you're chasing the Nidalee, and Nidalee is not someone you want to chase. Like, Nidalee is so mobile, it's gonna be hard to catch her. You have red buff, so it's possible, but yeah, you're not gonna be able to catch her. So huge mistake by you right there. You're wasting your time chasing a Nidalee, and, you know, first rule of laws, you never chase Singed. Second rule of laws, you never chase Nidalee. Because Nidalee is so mobile, you're not going to be able to catch her. So, really a silly mistake by you there. So, one thing I want to point out is, like, you may think that you're doing well this game because you're like 5-2, you have a decent score, but that score, like, what does that mean? Okay, you have 5 kills, right? That's nice, but you only have 64 CS. So, if you look at gold, you know, 5 kills, that's about, what is it, 300 gold a kill? So that's about 1500 gold and 64 CS. We'll call it 20 gold a kill. So that's maybe 1200 gold. So you're about 2700 gold total, apart from like the ticking gold. And if you look at like this Malzahar with 208 CS, already right there, just with CS, that's more gold than you. So, like, you really need to CS better. If you want to know why you can't carry games, I'm going to tell you right now, it's because of CS like that. If your CS is low like that, you will never carry a game with 63 CS at 28 minutes. That CS should be 250 or around there. And I'm 100% serious about this. You cannot carry a game with 63 CS. It's not a Shen. Maybe if you're Katarina or Darius or some snowballing champ with 20 kills, maybe you can carry it. But with a Shen, you can't carry a game with 64 CS, especially when you rush defensive items. Especially when you rush a Thornmail against a team with all magic damage. So the biggest reason you're not going to carry this game is you built incorrectly. You can't build Thornmail against a magic damage team, and you played incorrectly. You haven't been farming. You've just wandered the map without doing much at all. So missing that taunt is a big mistake. He's just going to be able to walk away now. But anyway, like I said, you need to take advantage of Shen's biggest strength, which is his global presence and his split pushing. Oh, looks like you caught the Shen, or the Malzahar, which is good. So you're able to pick up that kill. That's good. But you really need to... Oh, that's a silly work ulti, but you're going to die. So, if you look at your death queue cap, that's going to be all magic damage. Look at Warwick. All magic damage. Teemo Blinding Dart, magic damage. You took 97 physical damage. That Thornmail was effectively useless. And like, that was your fault. So you're raging at your team, but that was your fault. You just got caught. You just got completely 100% caught by the enemy Warwick. And like, I can't, the big mistakes that you've made this game, there are 3. 1, not farming. You have to farm to win games. That's just League of Legends. League of Legends is a game of resources. Farm is the most important resource on the map. You have to get that. The second thing is you built really incorrectly. That Thornmail rush was really bad. That whole, like, where you just died, you just had 2,000 gold of uselessness. So that Thornmail is a really bad item choice. The third thing you've done is you've played really poorly as Shen. As Shen, you don't want to be roaming around the map trying to force plays for your team. That's not what you do. That you completely have negated the fact that you have a global range ultimate and you also have teleport by doing so. What you need to do is you need to be staying in your lane and pushing. What that will do, or staying in a lane and pushing, what that'll do is that'll force the enemy to come to you and try to stop you. And if they do that, you can teleport to your teammate and force like a 4v5 fight somewhere else. So that's how you split push, and Shen is so good at it. So you just stay in your lane and you push all day. That forces you either push turrets down all day, or the enemy comes, and then you can teleport to your team to help them when they need help. So you don't roam around and try to force things. So, and since the last time I talked about your CS, which was about 20 minutes, it's been 10 minutes and you've gotten 2 CS. That's really bad. Like, you have to farm. And I'm not, like, the reason why you're not going to carry games is because you're not farming. And that's it. The other thing is you've had 5 wards in your inventory for about 10 minutes now, and you haven't planted a single one on the ground. So there's one. So I'm glad to see the wards coming down. Warding Baron is important, so that's good to see. You should pick up this red buff. Since you guys are losing, you don't really have control of your jungle. So picking up red buff just to ensure that the enemy team doesn't get it is always a good idea. So that's one thing I should have said. You looked at red buff, you saw it spawn, and you just left. So if the enemy team gets that red buff now, that's on you. And you see, like, they're in your jungle doing stuff. So okay, it looks like your team is going to be able to secure your red buff, but it's still, like, that's still scary to just leave a buff like that when you're losing the game this way. And you know, you could have pinged it and been like, Varus, come get it or something. So like, what you should do ideally is farm this lane. Just farm and push this as hard as you can, and just wait and teleport into your team when they need you. So a big team fight here. Looks like you got a decent taunt, but you don't want to stand in Malzahar pool. You just walked through Malzahar pool, and that just chunked you. Like, all that damage you just took, most of it was from Malzahar's pool. You know, a Malz with 400 AP, and you only have you have no MR. You have 61 MR, and walking through that pool is gonna chunk you because it does percentage damage. So, mistake by you to walk through that pool and take a lot of damage, but. So yeah, the reason why you're losing this game is Malzahar. Just look at Malzahar's farm. He has 221 CS. You guys have no answer to that. He's so far ahead, and level 18. He's so far ahead just through farming and pushing his lane. Just farming his lane. That's all Malzahar has done, and that's why he's so far ahead and why he's getting kills. So you really need magic resist. 61 MR against this team is what's making you just melt. Like, Malzahar just E'd you, and it chunked you. Even though you have Warmogs, that just chunked you 25% HP because you have no MR. So that's a big mistake. You really need MR. So the 3 biggest things in your game you need to work on is 1, farming. You have to farm. 70 CS at 32 minutes as a solo lane is abysmal. Like, I'm gonna be blunt. It's really bad, and it's the single biggest reason why you're not going to win games. You can't win a game as a top lane with 71 CS. at least against decent opponents. Maybe against bad opponents who also don't CS, but if you want to get better and raise an elo, farming is the way to do it. Like I can't stress this enough, LoL is not a game about kills, it's a game about resource control. And the farm in your lane is the most important resource. And like, why why are you talking so much shit? It makes no sense. Like, you're not playing well at all. Even though you're 7-3, like, that doesn't mean that you're playing well. Like, kill death ratio really doesn't matter much. And this is a prime example of a game where it doesn't mean much. Like you're calling Varus a dumbass for being out here and like getting caught, but like you've done that 3 or 4 times this game, and like you've made huge mechanical mistakes. Like there were twice you could have saved a teammate because your taunt was, you had enough energy to taunt, it was off cooldown, and you're standing right next to a Malzahar who was ulting, and you didn't taunt him out of his ultimate. You're not like utilizing Shen effectively with his ult and his split push. So the 3 big things: you have to farm, you have to build correctly. Your build was just completely wrong, and you have to. When you play Shen, you can't roam around, because by roaming around you completely negate the fact you have a global ult and a teleport. So you haven't used teleport. I think the only time you've used teleport twice. I think the first time you ulted when you went bottom, and then you teleported back top, and then you teleported bottom once to like help save the turret, I think. So maybe consider doing something else than teleport, because it's been effectively useless for you this game. The only time it actually helped you was that very first one where you ulted bottom, which was an unnecessary ult, and then came back. So once again, even though you have Warmocks, just look how fast you're melting, because you have no MR. A Wit's End, like I said, Wit's End is a good, cheap MR item on Shen, so it's something I would encourage you checking out, possibly getting a Wit's End. Then you know, just a Negatron goes a long way too. So. Alright, so at this point I think I might just start fast forwarding. Oh, actually a fight. So you guys pick off the Malzahar. That's really good. So you guys should be immediately, okay, so you just want a team fight. You guys should be immediately looking to force something. Take Dragon, push mid, take Baron. You guys can Baron. That's a 40-second timer. You should be pinging. What you should not be doing is chasing these guys. This is a complete waste of time. You guys need to be doing something, like pushing this mid turret. You guys can just dive this mid turret. It's 35 minutes in. The outer turret is really weak. You guys need to either push the turret, or take Baron, or take Dragon. Like, you guys could have Baron right there. And if you didn't decide to dive that in Italy, and you decided to just go take Baron, you could have actually come back into this game right there. And you just got another pick. You can still do Baron. That was their jungle. You can still do Baron. I mean, pushing is okay, but like, Baron would help you guys out a lot right now. I think Baron would have been the right play. But at least you guys are pushing and taking advantage of the fact that you just actually want to fight. So you need to leave though. This is too greedy now. No, you guys can't do Baron now. Literally will be there very soon. She's up in 10 seconds and she's very fast. And Malzahar is going to be there. And you guys don't want to be bunched up in a Baron pit with Malzahar W on the ground. And that's going to end pretty poorly for you if you guys, if the enemy team comes. So you have to be very, very scared of this Baron. You guys are melting it. Your Warwick has Blood Razor at least, so definitely going to be melting it. Okay, so the enemy team doesn't even know. That's a really good Baron for you guys. Oh, they're there. Just too late. Yeah, so this is okay for you guys to chase. Baron will give you lots of HP regen, but you guys are just going to get kited out. And if you can't get this engaged, you just need to back off. So you guys should just back and buy though. Like, you have 1.5k gold. All your team has a lot of gold. You just pushed 2 turrets, got Baron, and won a team fight. So you guys all have tons of gold that you guys need to go buy. So just gotta fast forward for a little bit as we get to the boring parts of the game. But okay, so once again, you had 63 CS at 20 minutes. you now have you've gotten 11 CS in the last 18 minutes. That's really bad. Crazy engage. So one thing you have to remember is if you flash and taunt away through like that, you have to remember like your team doesn't have those gap closers like you do, so they're not able to follow up. So that doing that as an engage is, oh my god, that ult was like way crazy long. But anyway, that was not a good engage. You can't flash and max range taunt to engage as Shen, because you're just so far ahead of your team. Your team couldn't follow up. Like they didn't even hit Malzahar while he was taunted because they were so far away. So you just have to consider that, like when you're trying to engage. Like it would have been a decent engage if your team was able to follow up, but they're so far away, just not able to. And the other thing is, like, that's really dangerous, because Malz could have just insta-gibbed you. You have no MR, Malz could have just pulled and ulted you and you would have died, so. Like, look how much damage that Malz just did to you, so. Anyway, alright, so let me recap on the most important things so far. So, number one most important thing, you have to farm. Like, I can't stress this enough. You have to farm. Farming is how you win games of League of Legends. Like, League of Legends is not a game about kills, it's a game about resources and money. So even though, it won't show me gold count, but even though you had a good kill to death score, you had almost no money, because 70 CS in a 40-minute game as a top lane, that's really poor. Like, that's no money at all. You have to farm. Farming, you can't win games unless you farm. League of Legends is a game about resources and controlling experience and gold. And pretty much what it boils down to is controlling experience and gold. And by roaming around the map not doing anything for the last 20 minutes of the game, you don't get gold and you don't get experience. And that's why you lost that game. The other thing is you have to build right. Another big factor of why you lost that game is you rushed a Thornmail against an almost entirely magic damage team. So you effectively wasted 2,000 gold. The other thing is like you have to be smarter in you really have to be smarter in your items. You built a Warmogs with no MR against Malzahar. Malzahar's puddle that he puts on the ground does a percentage of your maximum HP every tick. So Warmogs doesn't help you against that at all. And then you throw in no magic resist. So no magic resist and a Warmogs against Malzahar's puddle. And a Warwick. So Warwick's Q is the same deal. It's a percentage of your maximum HP and magic damage. So you throw in Warwick's Q, which does percentage of your maximum HP and magic damage, and Malzahar's W, which is percentage of your maximum HP and magic damage. You throw in both of those, and a Warmogs with no magic resist is like one of the worst builds you could do. So you really have to, if you want to build tanky, you really have to understand the damage the enemy team does and build accordingly, because a Thornmail is, I'm probably going to say it's the worst item you could have built in that situation. I honestly think building AP would have been better. Thornmail was, I honestly think it's the worst item you could have built. Tiamat might have been worse, but no. But really, it just wasn't a good item choice. And then the third big thing is, like, if you play Shen, you have to take advantage of the fact that his ult is global range. So you go do your own thing and let your team do their own thing, and then you teleport to go help them. You don't stay with your team, because that completely negates the fact that you have a global range ultimate and a global teleport. So if you're going to stay with your team like that, don't take teleport, and maybe don't pick Shen. Because when you pick Shen, you want to be doing your own thing so that you can teleport to your team to help them. And it's basic split pushing. So if you're pushing top lane all day, right? And then your 4 members of your team go and push bottom lane. What's the enemy team going to do? They can send one person to stop you. And then what you do is you teleport to your team and it's 5v4 and you can dive them. Or something like that. You know, you go solo push bottom, your 4 sits at Baron. What's the enemy team going to do? Well, they can send one to stop you, and then you teleport to your team, it's a 5v4 fight at Baron, right? Or they send 5 to stop your team, they back off, and then you just keep pushing. So split pushing is really important with Shen. It's something I'd strongly encourage you to learn how to do, because it's something I didn't see. But Okay, that's it for that. I'm going to go ahead and answer questions now. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. If you're watching and you're not in IRC, please get in IRC. It's really easy to do. You just join my stream chat, or you can, if you go to my website at rockalockalili.com, you just click the IRC tab, and it's super, super easy. Like, you just go to my website at rockalockalili.com. I don't know why it's taking forever to load. And then you click IRC. Or then you just enter a nickname and join chat. It's just like that. You'll be chatting, so super easy. But yeah, I'll go ahead and if you guys have any questions, let me know. It can be I'm gonna keep saying super easy, and I don't care what you say, Pezzy. Yeah, so feel free to ask me any questions. I'm gonna get some water, but it can be anything about that game specifically, about Shen, about that matchup. About Jen is super easy. Really, Pezzy? Did you hear that? You offended her. But I'm gonna get some water, but feel free to ask me any questions. I'll be right back. Alright, so, Jen, my fiance, I just built her a new computer a few days ago, and she installed Steam. She just bought her first game on Steam sale. So, it's gonna be bad. Now there's two of us that are gonna buy everything on Steam sale. So, it's gonna be bad. She just bought Civ 5 for $750. It's her Steam sale cherry. Pezzy's up there. Pezzy's big at like 1800. Pezzy doing work. Yes, it is Age of Empires. They can recognize your music. Age of Empires is free to play, and she's playing it, so just trying to play it. She's having issues. So I do want to play some solo queue. I can stream it if you guys want. Otherwise, I just won't stream it. But if you guys want, I can stream it and try to give some commentary. Yeah. If you guys don't have any questions, I'll probably just start playing. But yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna help her really quick. But ask me any questions, and I'll be back, and then I'll stream some solo queue with some commentary. So.